First of all, thanks for doing this. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having us.
Steven, you're the numbers guy. So like we've known each other for a couple of years. I knew about you guys before we obviously became friends. Tell me, give me some stats. You are townhouse centric people. The team does a lot of townhouses.
Yes, we sold 18 townhouses in the last 3 years, 6 in 2019. So we're pretty proud of that. Our average price is about 9-10 million. So that's we're very happy because the market hasn't been easy. If you ask around, everybody was sort of hemming and hawing, and we were very fortunate that we were able to close that many deals.
And by the way, what Steve didn't say is those were all our exclusives. We actually closed more than 18, but just 18 townhouse exclusives.
They're yours.
Yes.
Our exclusives. And I think our closest we keep track of the competition. Our closest competitor was a little less than half that over the last 3 years. So we feel very pleased with, and grateful for all the success we've had.
And you work harder than you ever have to get it.
Yes.
We do. We work very hard.
That's it. It's a different world, I've talked to people in LA and I've talked to people in Miami, and the LA guys are telling me it's just changing to a buyer's market. And I said, it's been a buyer's market here for a while.
Absolutely.
So they're talk about being ahead. They're just catching the beginnings of buyers telling sellers, not so much. So that's great. You're good? Everybody's well?
Yeah, everybody's healthy, thank God.
That's great.
I'm well, thank you. Yeah, feeling good.
Let's get to the fun stuff before we get to the business stuff, and then we'll get to what are you watching? Netflix, Amazon, Apple. What's the Vanderploeg team watching?
I think Steve should answer first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I watch Netflix and Amazon. My wife also got a Hulu trial because she wanted to watch the Clark Sisters movie, which was really fun. And we also got into, what is it called? Little Lies Everywhere. That was a phenomenal show too. Wow. And other than that, Netflix started The Money Heist and Ozark, like everybody recommends. And so far so good. And of course, I'm watching the ESPN Michael Jordan documentary. That is, goosebumps. Takes me back to my childhood when I was, grown up in Germany. I had to get up in the middle of the night to watch those games, and MJ was my hero.
Everybody says that's like the sports thing to watch. Not that there's a lot of other sports to watch, but everybody says that's it.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
That's good. George, anything?
Well, I have to confess, I don't watch TV. That's the problem. So what I do watch, though, is I've been catching up on a lot of culture online from places like the Metropolitan Opera, the City Ballet, the School of American Ballet, Joyce Theater. So, as Steve knows, and you may know, I'm sort of a culture guy, and all these institutions are doing a great job of providing content, and I think that long-term, this is going to serve them well because I think they're reaching a much larger audience this way. And I hope that long-term, this will help all the institutions.
It's amazing. It's amazing what's coming out of this.
Lots of things we could never have imagined.
Absolutely.
Some good, it's a terrible thing, but some good things are coming out of this for sure.
Absolutely. What's keeping you guys motivated in this? And the secondary part of that is what's keeping you grounded?
All right. Well, you go first, Steve.
Well, what's keeping me motivated is I have a family to feed, right? So my kids are 5 and almost 2.
Wow.
So I have them for a couple more years, and before they go to college. So that's one thing. And of course, we just love selling real estate. We love our townhouses. We love hanging out with our customers and clients and doing the showings and everything. For us, it's not really a job. It's just a way of life, really, because we love what we do, and I think we can't. I certainly can't wait to get back and just be out again, look at these beautiful houses, and just be around people.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
George, is that the team answer, or?
Yeah, pretty much. What motivates me is paying my bills, which is pretty much what Steve said. I no longer have a family to feed. They've grown up, and I have 2 sons now in Chicago and San Francisco, and they're doing well. But yeah, I motivated in a lot of the same ways that Steve is. And in terms of the grounding, I think what helps me is, I do a lot of yoga and meditation. That helps a lot. And I've been doing that for a number of years. And just being in nature, whether I'm in the city or the country, I just like being outdoors all the time. And, I find nature very consoling, and it's a good way to, be grounded.
Good deal. What's the best part of isolation?
Well, I kind of like being on my own anyway. So the best part of isolation is isolation for me. I mean, it's great. I like spending a lot of time by myself, and I find I get a lot of stimulation during the workday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that's one of the reasons I don't watch TV. I don't play a lot of games. I don't do a lot of things like that because I sort of think in a way I'd be overstimulated. There's plenty of stimulation in our job. So I actually personally find this isolation suits me very well. What about you, Steve?
Well, for me, it's obviously spending more time with the kids and my wife. During the normal work week, I don't see them that much. I mean, I take my son to school in the morning, and then I see him again when I come home for like an hour before he goes to sleep. So this time has been great to just hang out with the family and have all this time together. However, I do miss people. I don't really do well in solitude. So
Sure.
I have my family around me.
But there's an element of this you're going to miss.
There is definitely an element that I'm going to miss. And I've been out yesterday. I had a few things to take care of with the closing and stuff. And there were a couple of things that then came up after. So instead of being back home at like 3 o'clock, I was home at 9, and my son came crying to the door and said, "Daddy, I missed you so much." And that hasn't happened in like a couple of years.
Wow.
So I think once we go back to a somewhat normal routine where we can be out and about again, I think that will be a major change for our whole family dynamic.
Yeah, no question about it. And for 2 guys who are usually pretty impeccably dressed by any standard, certainly by mine, have sweatpants gotten old?
No,
not at all. I'm loving it. Yeah, both of us, I guess. I like it. I'm wearing, just for you, Lee, I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now. In fact, I told Steve I was actually going to put on a shirt, obviously not a tie. I was going to put on a shirt, and I went to my closet and realized I didn't bring a shirt out these days. I have sweatpants and sweatshirts, and that's all I've got. So I'm enjoying it. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, no, same here. I mean, I did put on a sweatshirt today also for this call. But usually I have to confess, once I'm home, I take off the body armor and I put on my sweatpants. So for me, this is just great.
It's good.
It's usually for me, it's basketball shorts and sweats and t-shirts all day long. That's it.
Are you doing fitness? Are you doing education? Are you doing continuing education? We're into this now. It's unbelievable. It feels like 6 years. We're into this for 6 weeks. The new normal is normal. You're doing yoga, which
I do that I spend about 3 hours a day yoga and meditation. I have a morning thing and an evening thing. So that's the primary. And then I also walk a lot. I do about 10,000 steps a day. So I'm out here, at a friend's house in East Hampton, and there's a very nice pool. So I'm just doing circles around the pool.
That's good.
Walking. I get my 10,000 steps in. So yeah, so that's kind of what I do. And I'll let Steve comment on the education, especially the continuing ed, because I know he's doing a lot of it.
Yeah, I've been doing a bunch of continuing education, even though my license actually is not due for renewal until I think summer of next year. But I figured, now I have the time, I can just get a jump on it. But I've been trying to read a lot of stuff also to try to educate myself and get more knowledge in different fields. And in terms of exercising, I'm glad. I've been pushing my wife to get rid of this Gazelle machine that we bought I don't know how many years ago, and I've wanted to get rid of it for the longest. Now I'm glad we still have it because
really? Yeah.
now I set it up, And I try to get up earlier so to beat the rush with the kids and get on this thing for like a half hour to sweat, do some push-ups, and try to stay in shape.
What's your yoga regimen during the normal George Vanderploeg New York running day? How much yoga do you usually get in?
It's the same. I mean, I've been doing 3 hours a day for a couple of years. It's great.
Wow.
And I have basically it's a half an hour of meditation followed by an hour of yoga in the morning, and then I do the same thing in the evening.
Wow, good for you.
And it's really important for me to keep that. And it's not hard. It's like all of us exercise and do things, and we all know that exercise is addictive, and that's largely why we do it.
Sure.
And that's why we can continue to keep a practice. And it's the same with yoga and meditation. For me, it's part of my life, and it's not negotiable. It's not something that I won't do if I don't have time. I make the time to do it. And then it enables me gives me so much more energy for the rest of the day and what I have to do during the day.
Now, you're by yourself, so you can get a book in, you can focus. Can you read with 2 kids running around? Can you focus on a book?
When they sleep.
When they sleep. And you just don't pass out at that point from running around all day with them?
Well, it happens quite a bit. Yeah, I stopped reading like actual books because I never had the space. So a couple of years ago, made the transition to a Kindle, and there's plenty of times when I fall asleep and then I wake up when that thing hits the floor.
The thing hits your face. Or yes. Retina. And let's get to some of the fun stuff. Oreos, regular, double stuff, or mega stuff. Right. What's the team do?
Okay.
Thin.
Okay.
I got to add it to the list.
All right. And I don't eat Oreos. I'm sorry. So
all right. I knew that answer was coming. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to the next one from the top box, but I'll take a shot. I'll switch it. Favorite pizza topping?
Yeah. Well, I don't eat pizza either. But if I did eat pizza, I'd probably want like the basil, tomato, and mozzarella one.
Straight out margarita.
Yeah. Right.
Mr. Brooklyn.
Yeah, I have a couple, but if I had to limit it to one, I mean, I love plain cheese. I like the margarita, and my local shop also has a buffalo chicken that is phenomenal.
Nice. What is the local shop? Where in Brooklyn are you?
Well, my old place was in Prospect Heights, so I was just off of Flatbush Avenue and 7th Avenue. And there's a little hole in the wall joint called Antonio's Pizzeria. They're Zagat rated, and their pizza is amazing.
Can we go when this is over?
Absolutely.
Can we?
Love to.
What did you guys want to do when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up? How did you morph into this?
Well, it's interesting. I wanted to be, believe it or not, I wanted to be an actor. And I always enjoyed being on stage. So that's why I'm enjoying being with you on TV right now. But that's what I wanted to be, was an actor. And I did a lot of acting in school before, I got into my work life.
There you go. Steve?
Yeah, I wanted to be a professional basketball player. And then, unfortunately, I grew up not only in the wrong country, but I also stopped growing when I was 14. And, 5'10", that was it for me. I mean, I was a decent player. I probably could have played, like at a bad college here in the U.S. But yeah, then I had to at some point I had to face the music, and I got into banking and finance. And banking is not really my thing, but I like numbers. And
okay.
My wife and I had real estate that we own already, so I decided, agent sounds like something I could do. And
you love it?
I absolutely love it. I mean, look. Who gets to look at the most expensive and most gorgeous properties and get paid for it? I mean, that's like a no-brainer. Yes, it's hard, but I love it.
You romanticize it. I know how hard you guys work. It's a lot.
Yeah, look, for a kid that grew up and always dreamed about living in New York, right? I'm not only living in New York, but I also get to see all those places that I've been dreaming about as a kid. And I'm looking up at those skyscrapers, right? And now I get to go in and see, everything inside, get to talk to the people and interact. I mean, this couldn't be any better for me.
Let's shift topics. Dogs or cats?
Dogs for me.
I knew I liked him.
Yeah, I have a dog too. Although I did grow up with a cat, so I'm like 50-50 on it.
Where'd you
I
get?
like,
How come you guys, your hair isn't like out to here? I know mine is. You
Yeah.
know, one of my questions is $1,000. You can't donate it because I know that's the first thing you do. But you get a haircut, you get a pedicure, you get a manicure. But you guys look like you're in pretty good shape. This is gel. This is like 9 pounds of gel every morning, or else
You look good.
like
It
it
looks very
starts
good.
about here.
It looks very good.
Yeah. Gel's a wonder drug.
Yeah. So what's the choice? Pedicure, manicure?
$1,000, can't donate it. You take the $1,000, or you get a manicure, pedicure, haircut, whatever, you know, you're missing.
I'll take the money.
You take the money.
Yeah.
Steve?
yeah, I think I'll take the money.
You got a
too.
mortgage, Steve, you got a mortgage to pay for. So
Yes.
you can't.
I gotta tell you, my haircuts don't cost $1,000.
Yeah, you know what? I've heard that. And you can't, even if you're thinking about it, you can't keep that house as a man cave for that long. So at some point.
Hey, and listen, by the way, I cut my own hair the other day. Well, not the other day. It's a couple of weeks ago because it got out of hand. And I got a little too cocky and I tried to do a fade myself. And I almost screwed it up, but my wife had to come in and she saved the day. And, you know, it's still, you know, it's okay. It's presentable.
You look great. Don't worry about it. What's your happy place? What you both look pretty happy and in great shape, but what's if you've got a place that you just go to just get away from all of it and you have the choice right now, there's not a lot of choice. Where is it?
Well, I have a couple of happy places. I have to say, I think my apartment is a happy place, but also Central Park. And in terms of travel, I love going to Italy, probably my favorite place. And where I am right now, East Hampton. You can't beat that.
No. Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I love being home too, especially now that we're moving and we have more space in the backyard. But before, I loved hanging out in Prospect Park, Central Park. And in terms of travel, Cabo San Lucas.
Really?
It's my happy place. We have a little timeshare there, so we try to go at least once a year. And we just absolutely love it.
All right. I got two more before we get to business. I know you're chomping at the bit for business. French fries or onion rings? This is an important question.
Steve, what do you think?
French fries.
Any particular place in Brooklyn, since you're the coolest guy on this call?
For French fries? The
answer is Nathan's.
Of course. Since we work for Douglas Elliman, yes, it has to be Nathan.
That's right. Warber is listening. The answer is Nathan.
Yes, Howard, it's Nathan's.
That was a gimme, Howard. You're lucky the Christmas party is like 7 months away.
Right.
Right. No, but Nathan's fries they are pretty good.
Yeah, they are pretty good.
The frozen ones, they're pretty good.
Yeah, we got bags of it over here. What's the restaurant that you missed the most?
Steve?
Well, I haven't been eating out very much since the kids are relatively young, and we we're cooking a lot more or eating or ordering in. The place that I really miss ordering from, I should say, is Gloria's. It's a West Indian spot here in Brooklyn on Nostrand Avenue. And they stew chicken and doubles. Oh my goodness.
Really?
Yes.
Really? George?
Yeah, I really don't. It's hard to answer because I don't care very much about food and I don't go to restaurants much. I go out a lot to performances, but I just I grab a bowl of soup and a salad, and you can do that anywhere. So, there's no place that I miss that much.
Would you argue that Lincoln Center is the replacement for a restaurant?
Yeah, there's plenty of options there. I can get soup and salad a number of places right before I go to a show.
There you go, because you got to tie it together.
Oh, by the way, I did think of one restaurant that I really miss. It's Hillstone.
Really?
Yeah, we love their Hawaiian ribeye steak.
Okay. Nice. What's the first thing you want to do without a mask when this all calms down?
Well, I'm going to say smell the roses.
Steve?
It's a tough one without a mask. I mean, just getting, and I think this is going to be a big thing for me, but getting on the subway without a mask will be a big thing. Because that's the one thing that I'm dreading about going back to, normal. Being in a crowded subway car or on a crowded bus.
When was the last time you were in a subway?
Like 6-7 weeks ago. I mean, literally before everything shut down. Now, wherever I go, I drive.
Well, all right. I know you're chomping at it. Let's do it. Let's talk about business. How are things? What are you doing? Are there deals happening? Are the phones ringing? What's going on?
Well, there is a lot. In fact, I think Steve would agree. We've been like super busy, and it feels like we've been even more busy during this time than, and maybe that's just because we're working from home and we're not doing the commute thing.
Sure.
But we seem to be working literally 24/7. I mean, we're on calls with clients at night, in the morning, through the day, and we're happy about that because we would not want it any other way. We have a couple of contracts signed that we're working towards getting a closing in the next couple of months. But the new business, buyers are not out looking at properties. People pretty much have hit the pause button because of, their other concerns about health, but also the economy, the financial situation. So I think, that's probably true with everybody. And so what we're doing is keeping very busy, staying in touch with people, finding out what they're thinking, how we can help, providing people with information to help them make decisions.
Sure.
And that ties in to research. We do a lot of research in our team. And we have a little more time now to do some of those things. Projects that we had been wanting to do, we're now able to start doing. So we're keeping pretty busy. Steve?
Good, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I can only echo that. We like, as you pointed out, we're a numbers people, not entirely, but we have a big focus on research and statistics. So now's the time to really drill down on that and get ready for when things open back up.
What's it like to drive a team of people in this?
Well, for me, it's been very, it's very easy because we have a great team, starting with Steve, but the whole team, I don't know how I'm so lucky, but everybody is creative, they're energetic, they're committed. And it's very much like a family. We have 6 people, including me, and it feels like a family. And everybody's, it's just great. The one thing I did want to just add about your last question about business is that, and then I'll let Steve talk about the team, is that we've started to see some interesting things that we didn't see before, though. And, people you're on pause in terms of buying for the most part. But we are finding that we're getting inquiries from other brokers mostly, who have clients that live in apartments that want to try townhouse living. Now, they don't want to commit to buy normally in this environment because there's too many uncertainties. So they're looking to rent. And we're doing a couple of townhouse rental deals right now that I'm sure we wouldn't be doing otherwise. And I think that we'll see quite a bit more of that. And I think that some of these rentals will turn into sales. I think some of these people will probably end up buying the houses that they're renting in a couple of years. So that's something that we're seeing. Steve?
Yeah. Well, in terms of the team, we do a team check-in call like every morning.
Every day?
Every day. Well, except for the weekend, but every, Monday through Friday.
Wow, that's great.
And we do it on FaceTime, so everybody, we actually get to see each other's faces, and sometimes my kids and another team members' kids are joining in and having something to say. But it's good that so we can it's good to brainstorm, and everybody always has like some good idea of something that we can be doing, or has a recommendation of a class that is coming up, or a good book, or whatever it may be. But it's always very fruitful, even though it might not necessarily be an hour every day. It's usually like 15 minutes, checking in, everybody's healthy, everybody's good. Okay. Sure. And then individually we talk about, certain tasks that need to be accomplished.
You got to keep some normalcy, some regimen.
Yes.
Just got to keep it going, because without that, it all starts falling apart, which then leads to the question, do you think a lot of this Zooming, FaceTime, do you think a lot of this is here to stay?
Well, I certainly do, and I'm enjoying it. And, I enjoy participating in a lot of these, webinars and so on that people are doing. And I think, and I'll let Steve comment more on this, but we've talked about how, for instance, listing presentations, that we can now do them on Zoom. And there are, we're learning a lot of new things about how to take our visuals and our contents and our graphs and all that kind of thing and put them on the Zoom as well. And, there's obviously a face-to-face meeting is best,
Sure.
but there are a lot of advantages in terms of scheduling and people not having to travel. And, there are a lot of advantages to this virtual way of working that I think we're beginning to appreciate.
It's terribly efficient.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a Zoom call with everybody who works for us in the field to make sure that when this goes on, when the light goes on, where is everybody? And the idea of getting 21, 22 people in a room logistically is tricky. And I did a call with a client, with a designer, with a group of people involved in the process from the supermarket parking lot. And at the end of the day, when I hung up the phone, I was like, check the box. Who cares?
Yeah.
And I think those kind of things, I think they're here to stay because you get so much done in an incredibly efficient amount of time. And also you're not watching emails all day and all night. Did I miss that? Here it is.
Well, you're right. And back in the 90s when iPhones, well, maybe it wasn't iPhones, but where flip phones and computers and things like that became, people were, the productivity in America just like went through the roof,
Sure.
and its stock market reflected that, and the GDP numbers, reflected that. And that's going to be at least the silver lining, if there's any kind of silver lining in this situation, is that I think productivity, as you just said, efficiency, I think that productivity is going to go up. This will be like a little bit of an extra bump to the technological revolution that we experienced in the last 2 decades.
Absolutely.
And I think that this situation is going to just sort of push us to new territory with that technological innovation.
And you're right. If there are silver linings that come out of this, that's a big deal because that's going to really keep, if there's a way to keep this train on the track, that's one of the ways to keep it on, because could you imagine going through this without this technology?
No,
It'll be hard. It'll be very, very hard.
Yeah. I mean, things are hard enough the way they are, but without this, it would be a trick and a half. And this technology seems to be not an issue whether you're 18 years old or 90 years old.
It's better if you're 18 or younger.
Let me tell you something. My mom set up a Zoom call for her 80th birthday 2 Saturdays ago. It went off flawlessly. So if she was able to do it, we're good. Are you changing the business model, or are you just waiting for things to just, chill out? Are you looking to change things yet?
We are. One of the things we've tried to identify a couple of areas of business where it might be easier to close deals in certain circumstances in this environment, because we don't know how long this is going to go on. I think this will be for several months, one way or the other. I mean, we will begin to open up sooner than that,
Sure.
But things will not be back to normal anytime soon. Probably not until at least the time that we have a vaccine, which everybody says is not going to be less than 12 or 18 months away. So we're expecting so we're challenging ourselves to, look at the environment and what kinds of business can we do, and what kind of closings with what kind of buyers are going to be more possible. Because as I've said, a lot of buyers are just going to be sitting on the sidelines.
Sure.
And I would say the majority of the kind of business that we've done is going to be not there for several months. So we have to replace that. And we're doing that. Steve, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, we're trying to look at, compile a lot of data and statistics about new development things, and offer that to our buyers. Some of them looking for for opportunities right now, and then maybe some, you never know. And I just want to get back to the technological revolution real quick. I think it's sort of a twofold. I think the personal showing will not go away permanent. I mean, yes, there will be probably in the short term, there might be some stuff like done with a FaceTime walkthrough.
Sure.
I think ultimately that will not last, because I think people still want to sort of get the feel for a house. I don't think you can replace that, especially when people are spending the money they're spending in New York. Now, for meetings and for pitch presentations and that kind of thing, I think the technology will definitely create, save time and there's a productivity boost. But I think in terms of showings, I don't think that the personal interaction will ever be replaced.
But it could open up the market to more people being able to see things, having.
Yes. No, I mean, I think videos will become like the new norm. Like people will probably want to screen things, which, by the way, is not. We always took we want people to come in. So we took less pictures, right? Because we wanted to, just tease and then have people come through. And I think that will change. Like people will want to see more pictures and a video, right, and sort of weed things out before they come out, right, to actually see it in person.
That I think we're going to be doing a lot of walking around, and somebody wants to see something, and from my perspective, they're going to say, go take a look at it, send the Zoom, send the video, right, tell me what it is. And then if it sounds good, I'm coming to see it. I'm coming to kick the tires. I'm getting on a plane, because people aren't going to do that for a while. Like you said, a vaccine changes everything, but until that happens, it's going to be a different world. And then when a vaccine comes, then that's really when the green light's going to go crazy.
Right.
Because it's still New York. People still want to be here. That's just the reality of it.
It's not going to change.
No, not it'll go back. Did you ever think that being townhouse specialist would pay off like it's about to pay off? Because everybody I've spoken to, and I have to believe you're going to agree, but if you don't, please don't agree. Of all the things, new construction is going to be hot because people are going to want to buy it on Tuesday and move in on Wednesday and not go through it. But right behind that, the value in townhouses and social distancing, it's a big play coming up. I have to believe. Do you agree with that long-winded statement of mine?
Yeah, I do. And it's not just social distancing. What I'm hearing from our clients is that in addition to that, people, because they're all cooped up in their apartments, a lot of people, even with big apartments, don't have outdoor space.
That's it.
That's a feature. And another thing is that even in big apartments, you're usually on one level. There's not as much privacy. And I'm hearing more and more people talk about the advantages of having 5 different floors where you can really get away and there's more privacy. So apart from even the social distancing, there are those other aspects that are more appreciated now. Steve, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think having, especially for people that have kids, which, most people that live in townhouses do, they can go to a different floor and not hear the kids quite as loudly as if they're in the next room.
Sure.
Especially if the kids are younger, talking about myself. And,
that's why he bought a house, right, Steve?
Right.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Okay. And I think the other thing is a lot of people that bought in condos, and, they had their pool and their gym and their playroom and all these amenities. They realize now, I can't even use it. So if you in the townhouse, you can put your gym in the basement. You can have the kids' playroom or your movie room in the basement. So you just have a lot more options in the house. With the outdoor space, with working arrangements and what have you. And of course, the big thing will be, I do think that there will be an increased demand. It will be interesting to see where what sort of the opinions of value are between the buyers and the sellers, right? Because sellers, of course, they seem to they probably sense an opportunity and think, oh yeah, now everybody wants to buy my house, now I should be asking a lot more than I have before. And the question will be, will the buyers agree? And that remains to be seen.
Sure. I mean, if there's work to be done, that puts everything into a different perspective. And if it's ready to go and move in, maybe they can get a number pretty close to their aspirational number. But as soon as work's going to go into the project, that's going to change the dynamic big time.
Right. It will.
I think anything that needs a renovation is going to take on a whole new dynamic People are not that 1 year buy it, move in. That isn't necessarily anywhere close to reality. And let's not even discuss what if this thing comes back in the fall.
And by the way, speaking of it coming back, Steve mentioned something which I just want to emphasize, which is the idea of a home office, because I think that a lot of people, including me, are enjoying working at home. I kind of like it. And I think a lot of people do. And so a lot of people who don't really have a home office right now are going to want one. And that's another thing that you can do more easily in a townhouse, because generally you're getting a lot more rooms, a lot more space for the same amount of money.
Oh, sure. I mean, like you said, you're going off to a floor, not a room. You're not closing a door at that point.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think if the market, or when the market starts to hit its stride, townhouses are going to be in demand.
Yeah.
And maybe, I'm in a rental building with a pool. I've been there for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have I been in the pool in 2 years? It looked good on paper.
I, on the other hand, live in a building with a pool, and I go swimming twice a day. So
that's it. So,
I can't do that right now.
You're very healthy. That's the thing. I'm just, I'm eating hot dogs trying to get.
I heard on one of your other shows that you're doing this marathon on your treadmill or something.
I finished it.
Oh, okay, good.
And the Achilles held out, and that was a pretty dumb idea. It came out of my mouth, and the only reason.
You and Steve have that in common. You both had a ruptured Achilles tendon.
Yeah, no. Mine didn't. Mine stayed. I did 2 miles towards the end. I did 2 miles on 1 foot, because I'm like, the idea of going to a hospital in the middle of this with a busted Achilles, it just has stupid written all over it. I'm like, I'm not doing that. But no, the driving force to, after I open my mouth and I go, that was stupid. My daughter said, she goes, you do a lot. You say a lot of things sometimes that we don't know we will finish. And I'm like, oh, Christ. And so I'm like, all right. But it was great. And now, now doing 5, 6, 7 miles is a cakewalk. It's nothing. So, that's definitely one of the benefits of, like you said, having a basement and having that machine that kind of sat there holding clothes. And now it's like my new best friend. Yeah. So it changed. I think there's a lot of change from all of this that will stay if we're smart. And if we revert back because we're creatures of habit, I think then it becomes our loss. And I'd like to see that not happen. Like I said, these are staying at the Renovated Home. These are great. I get a lot done. Everything's terrific. Everybody's in one place. I don't have to worry, who can't make it, who got stuck in Manhattan traffic, and you see it. So that's for me. This is part of the new business model. Buyers and sellers, a lot of bottom feeding phone calls, or relatively quiet.
It's relatively quiet. I don't think there's a lot of bottom feed. We're not getting a lot of those kinds of phone calls. As I say, I think a lot of people are just on pause right now when it comes to buying. And, as I already said, I think that we're getting more rental requests than we normally do. That's what I'm seeing. Steve, what are you seeing?
Yeah, same. Our price points are at a certain level, and I think most people sort of realize that if you don't really have to sell, you're not going to. So we haven't really seen too many opportunistic offers, for somebody who wants to offer like 30-40% off the ask.
Sure. The one slight exception to that is you asked earlier about, are we rethinking our business model? And one of the things we are doing is we've always had investors, but that's not really been the majority of our business, but it's been an important part of our business. And now I think it's going to right now it's going to be a bigger part of our business, because investors are the kinds of people that don't necessarily need to kick the tires and go make a physical inspection, especially if it's a new construction condo, right? And we are looking for developers that are interested in selling blocks of apartments at a deep discount. There aren't very many that will do that, but if any are listening to this show right now, please get in touch with us, because we have a lot of people looking for that. And so, yes, the investors are always going to be opportunistic, and there are opportunistic investors in the market now, and we're trying to make deals with them.
They have to be also realistic, and it's a question of what people are willing to let it go for.
Yes, and I think that most sellers still are in the category of they want to wait for their price, and in this case, it might be a couple of years before prices come back. That's why we're talking to a lot of people about renting and just sort of until prices come back to where they were, and it's a good option for a lot of people to do that.
So, Steve, we met with a concept that we do called the pre-sale proposal, but it seems to be the nearest and dearest to your heart is the project that we're doing on 71st Street.
Yes, love it.
It's a great house.
That house. I think George and I both really, really loved showing that house. I mean, you know, right?
It's a crazy great house.
The facade and the little details everywhere, the woodwork. I mean, absolutely stunning.
What's the?
So, yeah, we can't wait to see what you.
Not a house. It's a mansion. It's not a house. It's a mansion. I hope I don't screw it up. I'm more focused on the client's name. It's the Milbank Mansion.
Milbank Mansion. It was named. It was occupied by the first Elizabeth Milbank, who was the widow of Jeremiah Milbank, who founded the Borden Milk Company, and was head of a couple of railroads in the 19th century. By the way, her name, her daughter is also called Elizabeth Milbank, and she also had a son who built a mansion on the east side, also called the Milbank Mansion. So this is the original West Side Milbank Mansion.
Right.
And her name, all of Barnard College was endowed by that family, and so the main building at Barnard is called Milbank Hall in honor of the original Elizabeth, who lived at 24 West 71st Street. So tell us, how's that project going?
Project was going great up until 6 weeks ago. It's gonna be a family who's gonna be in there. It's a lot of great design. We kept a good chunk of things that nobody in their right mind would rip out unless they were a developer and they were gonna level the place. So a lot of the wood paneling we kept, and we kept that great ceiling when you're first in the parlor level and all of that. And we kept the dining room paneling and all of that. But as you start going upstairs, bathrooms are funky, and there's a master suite that's off the wall. The crazy thing about that house, the 5th floor of that house, everybody who's working on the job, myself, my team, their designer, decorator, the client, the 5th floor has become the coolest floor in the house.
You found like three feet, right?
We found 5 feet in the ceiling.
Oh, 5, wow.
Right. So it pitched from 5 feet down to 3.5 feet. So now you've got rooms that are 11 and 12 feet tall. And I don't want to say it was the throwaway floor, but the home office is on the 5th floor, have its own private, terrace. This little goofy room in the front of the house with fluorescent lighting is now having a custom mantle made when the fabrication shop reopens. It's going to be a showstopper. It's going to be a great house. And the cool thing is the people now live in the neighborhood, so they get to check out the progress all the time. And we did a Zoom with them 2 days ago, and it's fantastic. And I said, look, we still want to see you. It's easy for them. The commute is like 48 seconds to get to the house. But doing a Zoom with the whole team, how can you beat it? They have a little baby, the baby's sleeping. What's good for you? 7 o'clock at night. Sounds great. Let's do it. And so, it worked out. It worked out beautifully. They've added a couple of cool things, much to my delight, but we've stayed pretty much on point with the pre-sale numbers, and things haven't gone haywire, and they're very pragmatic. They're lovely, great designer they brought in to do some of the aesthetics, and it's a very collaborative effort. So we're having a great time, and it will be it'll be top of the portfolio when it's done. Yeah.
Well, when it's done, let us know. We want to come and see.
They want to show it to you. They're incredibly generous, people. I'm working on stone and picking stone for about 5 new fireplaces, relining fireplaces. And at the same time, there's a master bathroom that we did in the middle of the house. We put a master bathroom that feeds to a dressing room and to the master bedroom. In the middle of it, they saw a photo. The decorator saw a photo. They saw a photo. And we put in a domed plaster ceiling in the middle of it.
Oh, man.
And I'm going, wow. It is unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And in the dome ceiling is the freestanding tub. So you'll see.
Oof.
Yeah, it's cool. But then what's great about that house is you walk into the common space and all of that original millwork from George is 130 years.
The 1880s, yeah. It was
Right.
Land and Rich, who the architects that did that house, and it's a one of a kind,
Right.
and it's just irreplaceable. So I was so happy that the buyers who ultimately, became the buyers of the house are a couple that appreciated all of that and didn't want
Absolutely.
to disturb it and didn't want to, get rid of it. Everybody else wanted to get rid of it. It would have been a terrible thing.
It
We're
would have
so
been a crime.
happy.
Yeah,
Because,
even end users wanted to tear it down. I mean, nobody wanted to keep
yeah.
any of it.
So we're so happy. It ended up as it should have done in the right hands with people who have a lot of taste and appreciation for history.
Yeah.
And, I'm so happy that they are the ones that bought it.
Yeah, and nobody's overshooting the runway, so that's it's nice. Let's close on this. What's your takeaway from all of this? Business. Let's do business first. Let's do personal second.
Well, my takeaway is that I'm feeling great humility, and I'm finding that I'm becoming a little more tolerant, a little more patient, and because we're all faced with something that is enormous and beyond our control, and it's sort of it's like awe-inspiring in a way. It's kind of like nature, it's like we're not really in control. We might think we are. And I think in terms of business and personal, more and more, the older I get, the more and more I find that there's not a separation between business and personal so much, that I have a personal philosophy which is incorporated into my business and my business philosophy. So it's a very holistic kind of thing, and so I'm just feeling great humility and great gratitude that I have so far, me and my family in the midst of all this are well, and I'm grateful for that. And especially because I see so many people who are hurting, whether because they somebody died or they got sick, or just the financial implications of all this. There are people that are, standing in food lines like during the Great Depression and things that we haven't seen in a long time. So I'm just very grateful to be where I am, and with the privileges and benefits I have. Steve, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think it did show us that we're not really in control of anything. That this is a force of nature, and it knocked all of us out. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it, at least not for the next couple of months, until such time there's a vaccine. And I also think that we've been very blessed to have a great business, and we're blessed to anticipate that things will continue to go on. I mean, we're in New York City. We sell product that we think will be in high demand. I mean, we could be somewhere in the middle of the country where all of a sudden everything comes to a grinding halt, and there might not be any chance of a revival, because people might not want to be there anymore.
Sure.
Right. So I think we're very blessed. We're blessed that our families are healthy. This time that I get to spend with my family I will cherish that forever. I mean,
Yeah.
you know this. You have a daughter, and you can't get that time back, especially when they're young. Like my daughter, I feel like she's learning a new word every day now, and I would have completely missed this.
Sure.
So yeah, I think we're just very grateful and very blessed to be in the position that we are. That we have now was able to buy a house in this crazy time when other people are really worrying what's going to happen. With their home, are they going to be evicted soon, or whatever the case may be. I think we really are just grateful and blessed.
I have a metric when it comes to the kids. I think they grow up a month for every week they're in this.
That's very true.
Yeah. So I'm feeling like I came into this with a 14-year-old 2 month, and now we're getting closer to 15. And I'll tell you something, considering what they have to go through and the disconnection from their friends in school and their routine, for us, George said it right. the blessings for everybody on this call so outweigh anything that how can you, especially what people are going through, but at the end of the day, it's a break. It's more time with family. It's all of that. To your point, on the other side of it, there are people who are on food lines who are never thinking they would be on food lines. So, there's a real, I think people try to figure out what's it going to look like. I get calls from clients, May 15th. I heard May 15th. I'm like, it's a date, and then why don't we worry about May 16th and figure out what May 17th, nobody's going back to work at 105 miles an hour. And that's the speed you guys run. We all run every day pre this. And now coming out of this, I think the question is, what do you want? It's a short movie. This whole life is just the craziest, shortest movie ever. So what do you want? It's a short movie. And what do you want to spend your time on? Because, and that's to circle back to this, whole Zooming and technology thing. If I could get another hour a day, I'm good with all of this technology being part of it. So, for me, it's going to stay, but we're going to still, when this is all over, we're still going to hug and we're still going to go look at property. And then we're going to still talk to buyers and show them how buying it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's what you do. That's it. You guys are awesome. You took the time. I really, really appreciate it. It looks like we've got a good weekend on tap.
Yes.
Enjoy it. And
thanks for having us.
We'll keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lee.
George, thank you. Steve, I'll see you on Instagram.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.